Registered representatives offer securities through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Financial advisors offer advisory services through Securities America Advisors, Inc. Forest Hills Financial, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities. This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steinler.
Good morning. Welcome to Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bart Steinler. Bart, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. It's another $1 million morning.
Indeed it is. This is Keeping Your Money Show, where we cut through all the bulls, the booyahs, bells, whistles, honks, and horns to get you to the information that actually helps you move towards retirement. Got a great show on deck today. We're going to talk about some Social Security myths. Can you separate fact from fiction? What to do when you marry someone with debt? You know, we've talked about all these student loans out there. How smart is it to marry somebody who owes $100,000 in student loans? We'll talk about things to think about if you're considering that. Misunderstanding the idea of what safe and risk means. We see a lot of advertisement for keeping your money safe. Right. And, you know, avoiding risk. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that and what those terms really mean, and maybe some things that you don't even think about when it comes to discussing those. And then, is it smart to take out a loan to go on vacation? If you ever have listened to this show, I'm sure you probably know what our answer is, but maybe a little bit of a different take on that, and that many of you probably are taking out loans to go on vacation without really thinking about the fact that you're doing that. All that and more here on the Keeping Your Money Show. If you miss any part of the show, you can always find it on our website. Go to keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find it on all of our podcast partners: iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, and Spotify. I want to remind you about our golf outing. Thursday, July 25th, will be the Hillary Westenbarger Memorial Golf Outing with proceeds to benefit Kids Food Basket and I Understand Love Heals. Awesome event every year. This is the 6th year we've done a charity golf outing. Just a great time. It's going to be July 25th at Thornapple Point, commonly referred to as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Not only an awesome event, but awesome organizations that benefit from that event.
Indeed.
And 100% of any money that anybody spends there is going directly to those organizations. And they do a lot of meaningful work in West Michigan. So your money's helping right around where you live.
And I think that's important to point out, because a lot of times we hear proceeds to benefit, right, but we actually make sure the golf is paid for. So the event is paid for before you even show up.
That's right.
So if you sponsor a team, if you come and just golf as an individual, every dime you're spending there is going directly to the organizations. There's nothing being taken off of the top. And it's an awesome amount of things. You got a chance to win $1 million with a hole-in-one. We've got putt for dough, 50-50 raffle, silent auction, vehicle from Todd Wenzel Buick GMC. You'll have an opportunity to win as well. So just a good time all around. If you just want to come for lunch, you can do that too. If you just want to donate some money, we're fine with that as well.
Right.
You can find information on sponsorships, team costs, and all of that. Go to our website, keepingyourmoney.com/golf. All the information is there, and you can actually register right online to participate this year. July 25th, Thornapple Point is where we will be, and we would love to have you out to join us. So let's talk about the Social Security myths. You know, there's a lot of misinformation that flies around when it comes to Social Security. And I think one of the biggest ones that we hear probably over and over again is that Social Security is not going to be there. It's going to dry up. It's going to disappear. It's going to be gone. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to realize that that's not true. It's going to be there. Now, what it looks like can still be up for debate. But when we talk about Social Security running out, and now the estimate is 2035, keep in mind that doesn't mean there's then no money. It just means the trust fund has run out, which means then all they'll be able to pay out is what they have coming in, which right now is estimated to be about 80% of the benefits that Social Security would be responsible for. So even in a worst case scenario, which I don't think is going to actually happen, but even in a worst case scenario, you still would be probably looking at about an 80% benefit of what you've been getting on your statements, which, although not great, is definitely better than zero.
Right. And a lot of times people don't take into consideration that from time to time there have been changes made in Social Security. And what needs to be done right now is that some uncomfortable adjustments need to be made. And some of those adjustments are going to cost some people some money. And a lot of politicians don't have the fortitude to actually present the entire picture to people. They're afraid they're going to lose votes. So if you're really concerned about Social Security, when a politician gets up there and says, there's some changes that we have to make, and I looked at the changes, and there's not one of the changes that I like, okay?
Yeah.
But I realize that you have to make some of those changes in order for the system to be able to be at 100% in 2035. So, you may not like it now, but you will like it less then. So the longer we wait, the longer we delay. What I'm saying, when a politician start to come up and say, we have to make some changes in this, and it's going to cost you a little more here, and your benefit's going to come down a little bit here, and these are the combination of things that we have to do, don't demagogue the person. Don't tell them that they're destroying the system that we're depending on. The system we're depending on needs some tweaks, and the sooner we do it, the less pain those tweaks are going to have.
Yep, absolutely. And some of those are potentially reducing benefits, potentially raising the ceiling on income that's subject to Social Security tax, raising the Social Security tax rate, reducing cost of living adjustments, raising full retirement age. And one of the myths that we still see sometimes ties into that retirement age. A lot of people still think you get your full Social Security at 65. For most people now that aren't already 65, that has started to change. 65 and a half, 66, 67. Some talk of raising that even higher to 68, 69, or 70, depending on how old you are. Don't assume at 65, we have this thing where things stick in our brains, right?
Right.
Like, you need $1 million to retire. I can't tell you how many times I hear that. Well, there are so many factors that goes into that. That's impossible to say. You retire at 65. Well, that used to be tied to the fact that that's when you got your full retirement through Social Security. Less and less people rely on Social Security for a major part of their retirement because they know it's not going to be enough. It becomes less and less likely that your mid-60s is full retirement age, and probably inching up into your 70s pretty easily.
So if you're approaching retirement right now, your full retirement age as far as Social Security is concerned is somewhere between 66 and 67 years old.
Yep, exactly. Now, of course, you can draw Social Security at 62. We hear a lot of people say, well, I heard you always get it as soon as you can because it's going to be gone. That's a foolish way of deciding how you're going to draw Social Security. It's a giant decrease that you take by taking it at 62. And you end up with somewhere in the 70 to 75% range of what your full retirement is. If you compare that to waiting till 70, where you're going to get somewhere between 124 and 132% of your full benefit, that is a big difference that you're talking about. I mean, you're talking about if your full retirement age Social Security benefit is $1,000 and you take it at 62, you're going to get somewhere between $700 and $750. If you waited till 70, you're going to get somewhere between $1,240 and $1,320. I mean, difference between $1,320 and $700, I mean, that's almost twice as much. So that's a decision that really should be thought through and not just done hastily because you read an article somewhere that said you should always do it at this age.
And for many people, those are still potential earning years.
Absolutely.
So there's really a lot of good reason for most people to keep working and to keep contributing and to draw that later. The other thing to keep in consideration, if you're the main earner in your family and you're taking your Social Security benefit early, at the time that you pass away, that's going to reduce the benefit that the spouse is going to receive later in life. And a lot of times that's, maybe in their mid-80s and stuff, and inflation has taken a bite. The amount of savings you have saved up is not as generous as it was before. And to take a cut in Social Security at that stage of life could be, very negative effect on their finances. So you want to think those things through before you decide to take that early.
Yep. One of the myths they talk about is that Social Security will cover all your expenses in retirement. I don't think the average person thinks that anymore. I think most of us realize Social Security is not going to cover most of your expenses. It may not even cover half of your expenses, depending on what your expenses look like. The last one, Social Security benefits are tax-free. We still run into a number of people who don't understand the taxation of Social Security. And where I see this a lot is people will say something like, well, my Social Security is going to be $2,000. My wife's is going to be $1,000. And then we need $5,000 a month. So we'll need $2,000 more. No, you'll need more than that because you're talking about net numbers. Social Security is going to be taxed. Most people don't get away without it being taxed. I mean, there are some strategies, maybe utilizing Roth withdrawals and stuff like that to try and reduce the taxation. But in most instances, you're going to pay taxes on it. You're going to pay taxes on your withdrawals of your qualified accounts. So many times to reach a number of $5,000 a month, you very well may need to draw upwards of $6,500 to $7,000 a month to make that happen. So when you're doing, kind of those gross numbers at home and you say, well, I have this much in savings and I need this much a month, I'm going to be fine. You need to start looking into those other aspects of what comes out of it. Also remember, Medicare comes out of your Social Security. So that's an automatic deduction that's going to happen the minute you file for Medicare that you really have no choice in.
Right. Another thing to consider in the taxation realm is that certain states will also charge you tax on your Social Security. Michigan is not one of those states. I believe there are 13 states that do tax Social Security. And if you're thinking that when you retire, you're going to move to one of those states, it's something
look into that.
Something you might want to look into because it could be that another chunk of that Social Security check is going to a government.
This is also one of those situations where coming up with an income distribution plan is so important.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you have Roth qualified taxed, accounts, understanding the best way to distribute that money to minimize the impact of taxes is greatly important. Don't think just because you have $1 million that it doesn't matter on how that's distributed. It's very, very important on how it's distributed and can have a huge impact on what you pay for Medicare and what you pay in taxes. If you don't have an income distribution strategy, by all means, you're always welcome to give us a call. Our toll-free number is 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. All right, coming up, what do you do if you want to marry someone who's saddled with debt? Right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to planning your future. Jamie, Bart, and all of the advisors at the Keeping Your Money Show understand that your financial goals are unique and your needs are going to change at varying stages of your life. Our team of advisors can help you tailor a financial plan that meets your unique needs. Call us today at 1-888-98-MONEY or visit keepingyourmoney.com to schedule your free initial consultation.